No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Right now, choose any new 20 Mazda and get 0% for 60 months, plus 90 days deferred payments during the Team Mazda upgrade event happening now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping that all is well with you and your world and that your weekend was an absolutely fabulous one. If not, well, as we say each and every Monday, right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you will still be here when the next one rolls our way and you will have the opportunity to try it all over again. You cannot put this one on me. I did not wish it. I did not forecast it. I was doing everything within my power. Not that I have anything at all, any power, quote unquote, at all to do anything about it. But yeah, we've got another one we're going to have to deal with before all is said and done. I guess it's a good news, bad news scenario. Bad news, obviously. We've got yet another, what in all likelihood will be a minimal hurricane to deal with. The good news is, number one, it certainly, if everything holds true, will be minimal. Good news, section B, out of all of this, again, you know, if everything holds true to form. The other bit of good news is that we are yet even closer to finally getting this hurricane season done with. And as section C, it's not our first rodeo this year. Most of us that will be impacted to whatever degree have already gotten down to a science the hurricane kits and things that we need in that regard. There's a lot of good things upside to all of this. We've gotten most of the weak tree limbs, things of that nature, out of our system. So hopefully we will all get through this and come out on the other side none the worse for wear. As it stands, last I heard this morning, we're still talking potentially Wednesday landfall for Zeta, and hopefully this will be the end of it. But if not, we all know where we live. We all know this time of year what's coming. So govern yourselves accordingly, and hopefully, again, all of us will come through this none the worse for wear. We have not been with you since last Thursday's presidential debate. And I got to be honest with you. If it were not a duty, an obligation, as someone who is charged with analyzing this, talking about this, giving feedback to this, I probably would not have watched. And after watching last Thursday's debate, it only reinforced why, if it were not a duty, I would not have watched. It's the dog and pony show continues unabated. But what was disturbing, particularly to me, and bless his heart, and as y'all know, in South Louisiana, you can say anything about anybody as long as you either preface it or end it with bless his little old heart. Joe Biden's penchant for looking the American public in the eye and telling a big fat whopper of a lie is scary. Either no one in the Biden campaign has informed Joe that there's this marvelous new invention. Not a lot of people have heard about it, but it is out there, and it allows us to record people, their face and their voice, their mannerisms, everything. What they say, you can actually, believe it or not, record it and be able to play it back later with your face and your voice on it. Again, not a whole lot of people know about this marvelous new invention that's called videotape. So when you say, I never called Donald Trump xenophobic for shutting down air traffic early on in the coronavirus pandemic, people tend to pull up the videotape and show you saying it. Now, again, bless his little old heart, maybe Joe doesn't remember that he said it. And this is not, a reference to declining mental ability. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't know about this invention, that when he said this, it would come back to haunt him. For Joe Biden to look right in that camera, in the eyes of the American public, and say, quote, I've never said I'm against fracking. Joe, you're on videotape. As a matter of fact, you said it amongst all the other Democrats on stage in the Democrat presidential debates. It's right there for all the world to see. Then you look right into the American voting public's face and proclaim no one ever lost their health care because of Obamacare. Maybe technically no one person, because it was millions of them. To say these things with a straight face, not just to the American public, but to the American public that remembers these things, is scary. I don't know what it's more, scary or insulting. And when you say these things, and there's videotape 180 degrees opposite from what you're saying, then it makes you wonder whether you either don't remember what you said, or you are basically just hoping the people I'm talking to are so stupid they won't know any better. They won't ask any questions. Or there's also C, Kevin, there's C, all of the above. All of the above. But to say these sorts of things to an informed public. Now, if you're one of those that's saying, I didn't know he said that. Well, you are not in that number of informed people. For Joe Biden to say, there's no evidence that forcing business people to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, there's no evidence that it will force some businesses to go out of business and some businesses to lay off employees. There's no evidence of that. What there is evidence of when you make a statement like that is that you've never run a business. The evidence is, obviously, you've never run a business. Forcing businesses to pay $15 an hour for minimum wage, one of three things is going to happen. You're not going to be able to keep the doors open. You are going to have to lay off employees because you can't afford to pay that much. Or we as consumers are going to pay a hell of a lot more for everything else we buy, because the purpose of a business is to make money. And you're not going to eat that entire cookie by yourself. What you're going to end up doing is raising the price of everything you sell so that you can cover the cost of being forced to pay $15 an hour. In which case, okay, I'll raise my price, and what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to pass this increase on to the consumer. We're talking economics 001, not 101. They assume before you get to economics 101 that you already know this. You learn that in 001 before you even get to that class. But to tell people, well, there's no proof. Force businesses, you want proof? Force them to have to pay $15 an hour for minimum wage. And they also very conveniently either forget, or they're so stupid when it comes to business and economics that they hadn't thought this far in the chain. If minimum wage is put at $15 an hour, what do you do with the people who have jobs that pay above minimum wage? $15 an hour at McDonald's for working the fry basket. Okay, what about the manager that oversees them, who was making $15 an hour? Are you going to let him make the same amount as the entry-level employee? No. You got to raise their salary also. And if you raise the salary of the manager, you got to raise the salary of the people who manage the managers, because they're not going to work for the same thing. There's a relativity there. And $15 an hour for minimum wage, you've got to go up on everybody that's above minimum wage. Duh. And these people want to be in charge of every aspect of your life. How scary is that? And the real scary part is you don't have to be Einstein to figure this stuff out. I ain't the brightest bulb in the chandelier, and I know this much. Good God, what is wrong with people in this country? Got to get our first break of this hour out of the way. We'll talk more next on the Clarence Bugg Show. Stay close.
the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
You could be driving.
Right now, during the Team Honda Upgrade event, get a new 20 Accord Sport for just $309 a month with no money down, no first payment, and no security deposit. It's time to upgrade to your new Honda at Louisiana's #1 new car dealer, Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
By all standards, he is a champion for consumers. Because of Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta, our utility rates are 35% less than the national average, the lowest in all of America. He saved ratepayers over $8 billion. Commissioner Scrametta brought us more reliable power plants and energy-efficient solar fields. Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta. Keep the commissioner who keeps our rates low.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. You would think after a while that you'd become used to it. And there is a very, very fine line between getting used to something and becoming jaded. The hypocrisy of the left is so very blatantly out there for all to see these days. And yet, there are so very many that still don't get it. And if you talk with people on the right, they're insulted. And it's due in large part to hypocrisy. Perfect example. Remember last week, we talked about during the confirmation hearings for Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, how Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono blasted Amy Coney Barrett for using the phrase sexual preference. Remember that? It's offensive. It's outdated. And of course, Amy Coney Barrett apologized immediately. So last Thursday, Democrat Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono is on an interview with the National Review. John McCormick was the correspondent conducting the interview. And he questioned the senator about her blasting Amy Coney Barrett and saying, well, just so we know there's no double standard here, presidential contender Joe Biden used that phrase recently. Should he apologize? Here's how that exchange went. You criticized Amy Coney Barrett for her use of words. Do you stand by that criticism? Her response, well, of course. He asks then, do you think Joe Biden should apologize for saying that back in May? Her response, well, look, it's a lesson learned for all of us. But when you're going on the Supreme Court and you've been a judge, as one of my judge friends says, you should know what these words mean. The response, so should Joe Biden apologize also like Amy Coney Barrett did? Her response, Joe Biden is not up for Supreme Court. Response, no, he's up for the presidency. So should he apologize? Her response, people will decide. You don't want to call on him to apologize? Oh, stop it. The world is in flames. So let me get this straight. She should apologize as someone who is charged with interpreting the law of the land. But the guy who runs the country and is the leader of the free world should not. Can you say hypocrite? Of course, now, that's what the left does. This weekend, another classic example. Chelsea Handler, so-called comedian and ex-girlfriend of rapper 50 Cent, tweeted this weekend that, quote, I had to remind 50 Cent he can't vote for Donald Trump because he's black. She went so far in her tweets as to say, I would consider getting back with you. I would consider, quote, hooking you up if you were to publicly recant your support for Donald Trump. Can you imagine if a conservative had said something like this? That is arguably one of the most racist statements you could ever make. Well, you can't vote for Donald Trump. You're black. I had to, quote, remind him that he's black. So obviously, every morning when he wakes up, goes into the bathroom to wash his face, brush his teeth, comb his hair, do whatever. He never once looked in the mirror. Oh my God, I'm black. Thank you for reminding me. Oh man, that completely slipped my mind. Every single time he reaches in his wallet, his hand comes out, he opens it for credit card, cash, whatever. All this black skin, you had to remind him that he's a black man. Had a conservative said that, it would be front page, every media outlet, 24/7, forever. But she obviously has no problem saying it. Now, maybe, just maybe, because she is one of those that made this whole public display about having to come to grips with her white privilege. Maybe she's one of those that's of the opinion that as a white person, it's my duty and my obligation to let this black guy know or in her words, to remind him that he's a black man. I could go so many places with this, but before I get myself in trouble, I will just leave it at that. Now, Chelsea Handler needs to realize something. And she may need to start doing calisthenics with her fingers to tweet all sorts of things, because the polling organization, Rasmussen, has been conducting a daily poll of likely black voters. Following last Thursday's final presidential debate, according to Rasmussen, 46% of likely black voters had a favorable opinion of President Donald J. Trump. Now, you haven't heard, nor have I, I'm going to be perfectly clear about this up front. We've not heard any poll out there say that the president has that high a favorability rating among black voters. But conventional wisdom says, even if it's half that number, game over. Even if the number is a third of that, game over. And let's say, for the sake of the conversation, Rasmussen says 46%. Let's say it's, I don't know, half of that. 46 would be 23%. If 23% of likely black voters are comfortable enough talking to some random, more than likely, white person on the phone asking, do you view President Donald Trump highly unfavorable, unfavorable, favorable, highly favorable? If 23% are comfortable enough to some anonymous white person to say, yeah, I like him. I like what he stands for. I like what he's trying to do. If 23% say it, you can bet your bottom dollar horse the number's a whole lot higher. Black folks, believe it or not, traditionally are conservative in this regard. If they answer the phone and if they give you an answer, it's going to be real guarded. So even if the number's just half of that, that does not bode well for the Democrats. If you look all across the length and breadth of this land and you pay attention, don't listen to the narrative, don't look with rose-colored glasses, you will see more and more and more people of color, and that's black and brown-skinned individuals, more and more are willing to openly support President Donald J. Trump. Clarence, I can't believe you buying into that narrative. Well, tell you what, when we come back after this bottom of the hour break, we're going to talk about black folks and Donald J. Trump and why so many are going to vote for Trump instead of voting for Joe Biden. All you got to do is look at the records. It is as cut and dry as the day is long. 47 years on one hand, 47 months on the other hand. What has each one done for black voters? It's pretty cut and dry, and we'll get into it. But first, got to get this bottom of the hour break out of the way. We'll do so, bang this puppy out, and then we will come back and roll on with the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask. Wash your hands and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Today's the day to score thousands in savings on a new Toyota during the upgrade event at Team Toyota. Choose the all-new redesigned 2020 Highlander and get $1,750 customer cash. Let today be the day you score thousands in savings at Team Toyota. I-12 at O'Neill.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. And you're right, Marty. You going to believe me or your lying eyes? Which one you going to believe? Don't confuse facts with the truth. Okay? That one always gets me. Well, I thought facts were the truth. Nah, you can't confuse the truth with facts. What's wrong with you? You know, as an American, I am first and foremost a citizen of my country. I'm an American. But it so happens that God in his infinite wisdom chose to put me on this earth as a man with darker skin. Society has determined that I am, quote, a black man. But I'm an American first and foremost. Aside from the pain of watching my country go to this horrible, hard left lurch, aside from that, the only thing that's maybe more disheartening to me is watching people that look like I do be used by a political party. For those who are of the opinion that it can't be true that there are that many people, black people, that are going to support Donald Trump. It's pretty easy to see if you simply open your eyes. 47 years, and Joe Biden has done absolutely nothing for black folks. He's made a lot of promises, but that's about it. He did, however, manage to insult black people by delivering this glowing eulogy of Robert Byrd, the former high-ranking member of the Klan. He did manage to insult us with that. He also managed to insult black people by working with Jesse Helms to fight busing in this country, saying that white kids would end up in a jungle, quote unquote. And of course, this would not fall in the category of doing anything for black people. It actually falls in the category of doing things to black people. Joe Biden co-authored in 1994 as a member of Congress, co-authored the bill that ended up locking up more black people than any other single piece of legislation since Jim Crow. Not only did Joe Biden, Democrat, co-author this bill, he was so proud of it, he nicknamed it the Lock the SOBs Up bill. Oh, and by the way, it was also a Democrat, Bill Clinton, who signed it into law. 47 years. And he's done absolutely nothing for black folk. By voting for Joe Biden and the Democrats, you know what you're doing? If you're a black person, you confirm that they don't need to do anything for black people. Despite all the promises, Joe Biden's plan, by voting for Joe and the Democrats, you are confirming for them they don't need to do anything, nor should they ever do anything for you. Why? Because you're going to vote for them anyway. I can take my time, my energy, my efforts, and I can focus on helping somebody else. Because black folk, bless their little old hearts, they're going to vote for us anyway. 47 years. Name me one thing Joe Biden did positive for black folks. I'll give you time because you're going to need it. You do 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 boom 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 boom. Come up with something? Figured you didn't. You know why? Because you can't. You know why you can't? Because he hasn't. 47 years. Now, if you watched last Thursday's debate, and or you've been keeping up with political news, of course, now this all depends on where you get your news from. because the mainstream media probably never told you about this. 47 years, Joe Biden hadn't done squat to help black folks. In 47 months, Donald Trump signed the First Step Act. Thousands of folks, non-violent offenders, either released from prison or had their sentences reduced, helped with training to re-enter the job force. Oh, and by the way, of the thousands of people, non-violent offenders that were released from prison or had their sentences reduced, 91% of them were black folks. Donald Trump signed that into law. HBCU funding. It took him a little while, but it dawned on him. 3 years in a row, the presidents of HBCUs, Morgan State, Howard, Southern, Grambling, Jackson State, FAMU, Tennessee State, all these historically black colleges and universities, 3 years in a row, they came to Washington, asked to see the president. Well, we're here in Washington. We'd like to meet with you. Well, sure, come on over. I got time. I'll make time for y'all. Come on over. So after the third year of these presidents of HBCUs showing up and meeting with the president, his curiosity got the best of him. He said, well, why are y'all here again? He said, don't get me wrong. I love talking with you. I like meeting you. We always have great conversations. But this is 3 years in a row. Why are y'all still coming back? He said, well, we're here to get funding. We need funding. And the president said, no, you don't. They said, yeah, we do. He said, you got your funding last year. Yeah, but we only get funded year to year. Every year, we have to come back and ask for funding. So the president said, oh, hell no. This is crazy. This is insane. If Congress won't fix it, where's my pen? Executive order. Signed by Donald Trump. Executive order. I'm going to fix this. For the next 10 years. I love talking with y'all. I love meeting with you. We have great conversations. But it's insane that you have to come back every single year. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign my name right here on this. For the next 10 years, y'all don't have to come back. You can stay and work to improve the lives of black people in college. And while you're here, while I'm signing this, I'm going to increase your funding 25%. CBS didn't tell y'all that? NPR didn't tell y'all that? ABC, CNN, MS, LSD, they didn't tell y'all that? Huh. Right now, all across the length and breadth of this country, we are spending untold thousands of dollars to, quote, educate our children, many of whom are stuck in failing inner city schools. Donald Trump is the one who's saying, look, in Washington, D.C., y'all spend $30 grand per student per year to educate kids, and the results are miserable. Since it's taxpayer dollars, taxpayers ought to be able to take that money and pay tuition for their child at a better school. Donald Trump is the one fighting for school choice. The Democrats are the ones fighting tooth and nail against it. Why else are more and more black folk voting for Trump? Jobs, jobs, jobs. You've heard the joke in the black community, right? Man, because of Donald Trump, I don't ever get to see my family anymore. What? That's right. Donald Trump, I don't get to see my family anymore. Why is that? What did he do now? What did that racist do now? He gave them all jobs. They got to go to work. I can't see them no more. Why are more and more and more black folk considering Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden? 47 years versus 47 months. Don't confuse the facts with truth. Y'all will get that later. Final break of today's show. Gonna bang it out, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up the Monday edition of the Clarence Buggs Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Buggs Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Buggs Show. The only thing missing is you.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Monday edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. I'm sure by now, unless you have been just totally out of the loop, that once again, 2020, Louisiana is squarely in the crosshairs of yet another potential hurricane. If the prognosticators are anywhere near correct, it will be a minimal hurricane. And as I was saying it, I was questioning in my mind, is there any such thing as a minimal? Well, yeah, compared to a Cat 5, a Cat 1 would be a minimal hurricane. But if you are one of those that's been victimized by either Laura or what was the other one? I mean, there's been so darn many now that they all start to run together. If you've been victimized by a past storm, then for you, there's probably no such thing as a, quote, minimal hurricane. And for those of you, by the way, that have already been very adversely affected. I cannot stress enough, don't feel bad. And for God's sake, don't hesitate to reach out to one of any number of mental health agencies that are here to help. Understanding full well, it's not just the storms that you've been through, but as we often refer to in the Black Baptist Church, it's the storms of life, all multiplying at one time. I mean, it would be bad enough if you were only dealing with COVID-19. But, you know, when you take in totality all the things that we've been subjected to in 2020, there is a distinct possibility that you are not mentally, psychologically, the person that you were in 2019. And there is no shame, y'all, in reaching out on behalf of yourself, spouse, and or children. These folks would consider it almost insulting if you realized the stress that you've been under as of late could have some negative consequences and you did not reach out to them. Govern yourselves accordingly in that regard, please. Also, don't know how many of you heard that the mayor of New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell, announcing Thursday of last week that police will be cracking down on those folks in the city that are caught in public and not wearing a mask. Anyone caught, police now have the authority to ticket you, and the fine is $500. If, according to the mayor, you receive one of these citations and you are either unable to pay it or unwilling to pay it, then you will be ordered to pick up litter in the city. In other words, $500 fine or public service. I've got to wonder what would happen if X amount of people decided to defy the order by not wearing a mask and then refusing to pay. After a certain number of people were to do this and all the litter in the city was picked up, then what would the next course of action be? Are you going to incarcerate people? You follow me? Just trying to think this thing all the way through to the logical conclusion, what would happen then. But be warned, you now know, if you are caught out in public and not wearing a mask, you are running the risk of police ticketing you, and you will be fined to the tune of $500. If you can't pay it or refuse to pay it, then get ready to perform public service work in the form of picking up litter in the city of New Orleans. You know, we are now, a week and a day away from Election Day. And I understand full well, as well as you, maybe a little better than most, having covered COVID-19 and everything else going on. I understand 2020 is a crazy year. I get it. But I got to be honest with you, y'all. More and more people every single day are starting to question why it is that with only 8 days left before the most important day of his entire life, why is Joe Biden missing in action? Why is he living up to the Biden moniker that those of us of the conservative ilk have tabbed him with? This is, or would be, the crowning jewel of your political life. It would be easily the most important day of your entire life. And you are totally missing in action on the campaign trail. It's a very, very stark contrast. President Trump, on the other hand, is doing 2, 3, 4 campaign rallies a day. And I'll tell you something else that's pretty interesting, although those of us that are familiar with the story, it's rhetorical. We already know the answer. On one hand, President Trump doing 2, 3, 4 rallies a day. His son, Donald Trump Jr., everywhere, making appearances, giving interviews, the whole nine. Where's Hunter? Where is Hunter Biden? Vice President Biden's son. You know, I've got to think, for all the people watching right now, well, maybe not all, but a majority of us, if something this ugly, the Hunter Biden laptop, the videos particularly, not to mention the emails and everything else, if that story was out about us, we would be fighting tooth and nail to prove that it's not true. Of course, now, you and I probably would not have the media and social media refusing to put the story out there for the American public to make up its own mind about. You know what's so ironic here? We have heard, and many of us now have adopted as part of the American jargon, the word collusion. Remember that? Russian collusion, Russian collusion, Russian collusion, Russian collusion, ad nauseum. It's amazing how, as we get close to election day, American collusion from the media and social media has now proven to be the biggest collusion of it all. Funny how that works, huh? Just saying. Speaking of things that I always just saying, this day more than ever. Again, I'll give it to you. You're right. America, we're not perfect. But doggone it, for my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, really don't matter, because there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.